Alright, welcome back to another Koenji-shan Reviews. And this is part 2 of my manga haul for November 2021. I took a short lunch break there to have a bowl of tantanmen, and we are ready to get back into all this manga I still have piled up over here. I've been working really hard on collecting as much Kaze Shinobu stuff as I can. There's a couple videos out there on his more popular works like Ryu, the Strongest Man on the Face of the Planet, and Violence and Peace. But there's a bunch of lesser known works that I've been picking up as well. My good friend Chu found this for me in his hometown, Zeus, Kaze Shinobu. And this is pretty cool for only 600 yen. So that was a score. I've been looking for this online for some time and not been able to find it, and being able to find it so cheaply is pretty awesome. It starts off with the end of the world. Is that Snake from Escape from New York? And is that Jean Reno from The Professional from Leon? Wild. But classic Kaze Shinobu style. He really likes this, all the spirits of the earth being carted away into the cosmos. I just want to be able to put together a definitive profile video and make a few connections that others have not been able to make because, of course, a lot of the source material is in Japanese and a lot of the stuff is really hard to find these days. So this mother and her 2 children survive the apocalypse. And again, classic Kaze style. It's all about balance. So Zeus, that's a cool pickup for 600 yen. And for reference material, I picked up Druillet, Philippe Druillet, of course, who Kaze based a lot of his style on Druillet's works. And you can see clearly many similarities here. Again, it is all about balance and just wild artwork. So he changed his style up from gag manga artist to this more psychedelic, sci-fi, trippy stuff after running across French artists like Druillet. And I picked this up for 4,000 yen. This was 2,000. This was 4,000 yen, but it is the art book. It's crisp. It's basically brand new. And I don't want to give too much away because I'm going to cover all of this stuff in an upcoming video on Kaze Shinobu. So be on the lookout for that. That should be fun. So much stuff. Yeah, I don't pick them up that often, but there's another English book. Yosh. I got the complete set of Japanese Spider-Man, aka Michelangelo here, for 4,000 yen at BBB in Shimokitazawa, like I was talking about before. So this is an awesome set. This is the original press from, it was written in 68 to 69, 1970s, I think early 70s is when the tankobon were released. And I'm going to go into a lot of detail on this because it is just wild. You know, up through until about book 5, Marvel released in English, edited, heavily edited, because they took out some of the more scandalous stuff. Some of the stuff can be a little bit rapey and a little bit wild. Lots of, there's one issue that's just lots of drug use and lots of rapiness going on and attempted rapes. But I'm going to definitely cover the chapters that were not released in English and also do some comparisons with some original Spider-Man stuff. And then they re-released it in the 90s, in the early 90s, Spider-Man, and they skipped all of book 1, changed the order around. I'm going to go into some detail about that. And this one starts off with his wild fantasies. What's he doing there? What's he doing there? They skipped the origin story. They skipped Lizard. They skipped Electro and went straight into Creepy and Rapey. So be on the lookout for that video. It's going to be pretty wild, and I cannot wait to get into that. Ikegami, Ryoichi, of course. So that is Japanese Spider-Man. You can never have enough Japanese Spider-Man in your life. What else should we get into here? I found the whole 1 through 33 set of Angel Heart from early 90s, 80s, late 80s, early 90s. This press, though, is 2010. When was the original put out? I used to like the anime a lot, and you can actually watch a lot of these on YouTube for free, so you should go check them out. And really, the anime does parallel the manga series pretty closely, so I kind of like that. I found some Santa Inoue stuff, all for 100 yen each, so I picked up these 3. They're all in a discount bin. Pretty decent quality. Of course, he's most famous for Tokyo Tribe 2 and 13. And, he's got a lot of releases, but he does, Tokyo Tribe's the whole gangs of Shinjuku and Shibuya, gang fights and stuff like that. So that's a pretty wild series. I actually had all of them at one point, but again, some years ago, I gave away all my books and didn't start collecting again until about 5 years ago. But anyways, Inoue Santa, I've actually met him a couple times because when I was working in music back in the day, he would have a regular monthly event at Club Harlem, where he would spin records, DJ. Lots of street stories, stories of students, and just kind of wild stuff. This is Dan the Barbarian. Can never have too many dinosaurs in a manga. This one's about some kids. I read the first couple of stories in here while I was on the train coming back from Kichijoji, where I found these. But that is some Inoue Santa. Alright. I was mentioning in video 1 that one reason why I'm setting up a Patreon page is because I have a lot of stuff that's going to get me kicked off YouTube again, like Harukawa Namio did in the past. And I would like to find a place where I can post some of those videos and stuff like this Shinya Gekijo, or midnight stage performance stage. Pretty sexy ero stuff, but there's some kind of seedy mystery stories going on in here as well. But I'd like to be able to do flip throughs of these without getting kicked off of YouTube. So I am planning on setting up a Patreon page, which I'm not going to really charge much for. I just want to have a platform to be able to show this stuff. But unfortunately, I cannot show it on YouTube. And I got lucky this month. Got lucky. Here, cheers. There was a pop-up bookstore down the road from my house a couple blocks away. They do them a couple times per month. And sometimes you can find scores there. I found for about 500 yen each, a whole bunch of these ero manga magazines from the 80s and a couple newer ones as well in there. I think I got 10 for about $50. They came up to about 500 yen or $5 each. There's this one. There's Utopia. And I got about 7 copies of Lowlands. And again, these have some wild stories in them, but I can't show them here. But I will keep everyone posted on the Patreon, and we'll figure out a way to be able to go through some of this wild stuff. Also, of course, this month, Shirato Sanpei and his brother passed away. So I picked this up. There's a little memorial page in the beginning here. It's wild that they died just 4 days apart from each other due to similar pneumonias, I believe, which is wild. And his brother worked as an assistant to him. Both of his brothers did. So that was a bummer. And then Playboy in Japan doesn't have nudity, so I can actually open this one up. But this also has a Shirato Sanpei interview, an article, which I bought for future reference. Pretty cool though. And there was also a Gataro exhibition. In the first video there, I was talking about it, that I had gone to the Gataro exhibition at Parco. And here we go. That is some of the artwork from it. And they did a whole write-up on Gataro, aka Mansky Gataro, aka Man F Gataro, aka Monstar Gataro. And when I was at BBB in Shimokitazawa, I picked up this old Shukan Manga Times. I like to get these sometimes so I can try to find some old mangaka that I'd never heard of before. And there's some wild stuff in this one. So, haven't had a chance to read this yet, so really don't know what page to show you, but there's a couple wild stories in there. Kind of thumb through it a little bit. Man, but like retro manga magazine collecting can get expensive. What else do we have here? Gosh. Sometimes the bargain bins, you can find some, the bargain shelves outside the shops, you can find some cheap stuff. I found this Taniguchi Jiro. Not a lot of words. Just a quick little bunko read through. Taniguchi. Love the detail though. The perspective is great. Also, I like getting these weirds. This is Inagawa Junji. He actually did a tie-up with Junji Ito, in 2020 with the Amabie character. And yeah, he's a famous ghost storyteller. And these are a bunch of horror manga stories that he hosts. And I got this for like $1 from the bargain bin. So, can't pass up Inagawa Junji stuff. As well, I think for 200 or 300 yen, I'd found this old Rido comic. I forget what year this was from. I want to say early 80s. But 51. No, that's from 76. 1976. But it's some Gekiga, and it's also, it's period piece stuff as well. Lots of samurai killing. Gotta love that. And these are fun also to pick up to try to find new artists to track down. So that was pretty cool. This one also, Nihon Mukashi Banashi, just classic ghost stories from Japan. And this was also in the bargain bin, 100 yen. And they had a bunch of old kashihon at BBB in Shimokitazawa that were really cheap, dirt cheap, like all under 500 yen. So I picked up these two, and I haven't had a chance to really read them yet, but the coloring is pretty dope. Yeah, so these should be fun to read. I'm starting to get way behind on my reading. That's pretty cool. They introduced the cast, as it says here, the cast, not the characters, but the cast. It's kind of written like a play. A lot of these old stories in some of these old kashihon era, or the rental book era of Japan from the mid-50s to the mid-60s. But the printing is cool. They printed them on basically better quality paper and a little bit heavier covers because they were being rented out, so they had to be able to hold up. What else do I got here? God, too much. Too much, too much. Some more Koike. Again, this is the type of stuff that I'm going to be putting on the Patreon. And these covers are so sick, right? These are by Seisaku Kano. Does all these covers for the Gekiga King series. You can see there up in the corner. And the covers are really cool. So I'll be showing more of these in the future. Some Hirata Hiroshi samurai stuff. I think it says even in English here, it's the Gekiga Nobunaga Koki story. And samurai stuff. Wild, brutal samurai stuff. Of course, he's famous for kind of ultra-violent and somewhat sexy Jidaigeki or period piece manga. So these are always fun. This one also wasn't that expensive. I think 500-600 yen. So I picked it up. And I just started kind of getting into the samurai stuff again. It's been some years since I really went on a samurai bender. But I've been picking stuff up slowly so that I could put something together later. And more Koike Kazuo. This series is Macho Taste. Macho Taste. 2 parts, 2 volumes, and I bought both of them. I think it was, I want to say around 1,200 yen or 1,500 yen for both together. Maybe less. But she is pretty badass. And again, they get a little bit sexy and wild, which I like. Kind of looking forward to seeing what I can do on the Patreon. Again, I'm not trying to make money or, stack coin from all of y'all. But I am trying to find a place where I can put content that I cannot always put up on YouTube. Kato Shinkichi. This is Ranman, a collection of short stories, and I really dig his artwork. Really wild artwork style. Reminds me a bit sometimes of kind of Western style artwork. American Underground comic style. Sometimes I see little hints of Atsushi Kaneko in there. I've read only these first couple stories. Up to around here, actually. And I read this one too, about the robot goes in for a haircut. There's some wild stories in here. Kind of surrealist fantasy stuff, but the artwork is really dope. Yes. And Breira, again, another samurai story, period piece. Some wildness in here though. This one's got some really crazy, wild, sexy stuff going on. So, probably should be somewhat careful when I'm flipping through these. This elephant tamer, that's wild. Picked up some manga magazines as well. This is Manga専門誌, and I got this because Morohoshi Daijiro on the cover, and then there's also an article inside on Morohoshi in an interview, so that'll be a great resource down the road. I believe that's from, well, what year was that? 1980. April 1980, to be more exact. And these are some sci-fi manga magazines. These are always fun to dig through, and also I like digging through them to try to find new mangaka that I haven't found before from, you know, the 80s and 90s, stuff like that. Maybe I should just one day just do a video just on all the sci-fi manga magazines I have, because they get pretty wild, pretty fun, and some of the artwork is pretty cool as well, and lots of guest artists show up. Just a couple more things here. I found this, the best of Golgo 13, best 13 of Golgo 13, I should say. 13 stories that Saito Takao had put together. And I think that there's 3 volumes of these, like a green one and a blue one as well. I got this for about 450 yen, 400 yen plus tax, so they're pretty cheap. And of course, Saito sensei passed away this year, so it's a great time to start picking up Golgo 13 stuff. And just like Shirato Sanpei or Miura of Berserk fame, that stuff, a lot of that stuff, once it's gone, it's gone. This is Nagaigo and Ishikawa Takashi, I think. But, you know, I haven't read a lot of Nagaigo stuff outside of horror. So I thought that I should pick up, or could pick up, you know, because of course I read all the Devilman stuff and Devilman, you know, adjacent stuff. And earlier in video 1, I was showing the horror collection that I was reading that was a bit wild. And I thought I should pick up some more of his sci-fi stuff. So when I run across it cheap, just grab it. Sugiyama, Girl Device. Maybe Sugiyama is more famous for Mother Cosmos, which I also have and have talked about in the past. But I picked this up for 250 yen at my local bookstore, Sankakuyama. Cheers. So, whenever I can find something like that, I mean, it's in great condition, dirt cheap, pretty crazy artwork. I could read through this really quickly. Woo. Sometimes it looks like someone in art class just doodled away, but there's definitely more depth to it than that, so I don't want to sell it short. And this is Comic Baku from, I forget what year this is, pretty old, but it's got some classic, classic Gekiga mangaka in here. There we go. Tsuge. I found this at Kosho Center in Kichijoji. Again, I mentioned it in the last video, but I'll put together a video of bookstores to visit in Kichijoji, Jimbocho, etc. I do have a couple videos up. I have one on Asagaya. I have one on my neighborhood of Koenji. I have a Mandarake Shibuya video up, and a couple Mandarake Nakano videos up there. So, oh, those wood blocks. Yeah, so I just love picking up old manga magazines and digging around. And there's some Hanawa Kazuichi, which is another reason why I picked this up. It's a great way to find things that were not necessarily released in tankobon. So if I can find them, I usually try to grab them. And that, my friends, was my manga haul for November 2021, which was pretty fun. It's fun going around digging them up. I'm really enjoying buying stuff from mom and pop shops and not from just, you know, places online, because I feel like I'm supporting the industry a little bit better, supporting the mom and pop shops at least. And of course, It's fun going out digging. I just like getting out there in them streets and digging around for manga. So if there's something you guys would like to see, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate everyone who subs, likes, and shares. You are awesome. And I will be back next time with another video on Japanese manga. Until then, mata ne.